we're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Tuesday, May 13th here in Seoul. This is Cheska Dain-hong, and I'm standing in for Song Yoo-jin. She'll be back with us starting Thursday. Now, joining us bright and early is Kwon-jia.
Lovely to see you,
Lovely to
Jessica.
see you. Beautiful in pink.
Thank you so much.
And Sang-yeon with his dashing suit.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Both are here to speak on behalf of people in the 20s and 30s. Now, it's Tuesday, so we will begin with our keyword news. Today's keyword is election. Now, following the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol over his martial law declaration, South Korea has entered a snap presidential election period. Official campaigning began on May 12th with voting set for June 3rd. With less than a month to go, the candidates are expected to ramp up their efforts. Now, this race features three main contenders: the Democratic Party, the People Power Party, and the Reform Party. As the nation approaches this critical vote, the outcome is likely to shape South Korea's direction both domestically and on the global stage. Now, as we observe the unfolding election campaigns, which is less than a month away, there are certain aspects and developments that have stood out for sure. I mean, Sang-yeol, what have stood out to you personally? Are there some highlights that you would like to point out?
Yeah, sure. So two things stood out for me. So the first one is the young voters and their influence. So right now, candidates are tailoring messages and digital strategies to appeal to younger generations who are increasingly disappointed with traditional politics. Yet they are really active online, like on social media. So issues like job insecurity, rising house prices, and gender dynamics are key battlegrounds here. Another notable development is economic anxiety and class division within South Korea. So with persistent inflation, housing unaffordability, and youth unemployment, and candidates are under pressure to present credible, yet populist economic approaches to address these issues. And many of them are centering around welfare expansion or real estate deregulation to garner more votes. So we are at a critical juncture where this year's upcoming presidential election would be an important turning point for our country. But whatsoever, regardless of the result, I hope that the next president could be the person who really cares about its people.
And I love that you pointed out the young voter. I think especially here in South Korea, when we had the demonstration, there was a lot of young people's participation. Right. So I think one of the reasons that political party is focusing on the young voter could be in line with that. What about you, Jill? What are some of the things that stood out to you?
Well, I couldn't agree more with Sang-yeol. Well, what really stood out to me was the pace. It all moved incredibly fast after the impeachment last year in September. I was also struck by how each party is now really pushing to connect with younger voters, as Sang-yeol mentioned, especially online. It's definitely clear that all sides are trying to capture the public mood rather than just push agendas. And it feels like this election is just isn't just about politics. It's also about public trust and national direction, where we are heading to, where Korea should go. And so, yes, it's delicate indeed, but also a real turning point for South Korea. And whatever the outcome, it's quite clear that the public is paying close attention right now.
Definitely so. And as voters, I think we'll continue to keep an eye on how this all unfolds, because I think at the moment, political stability is, I think, our nation's top priority at the moment. So now shifting gears from the political stage to economic and social issues, today we'll be discussing a topic connected to the livelihoods of many young people, the job market. But there's a twist. Take a look at the screen to find out more. Even though winter has long passed, the job market for young people in South Korea is yet to feel the warmth. For many in their 20s, especially recent graduates, the path to employment feels like walking on thin ice. Major corporations are pulling back on internships and entry-level hiring, favoring experienced candidates instead. In this episode, we delve into today's Korea youth employment situation and the reasons behind it. Now, as we heard in the introduction, it is said that the job market is reportedly growing quarter by the day, especially for newly graduates and inexperienced young people. Now, Chia, just how serious or dire is the actual situation?
It is a quite serious situation. Well, if we look at the figures, Rao, take a closer look at the numbers. The employment figures for South Koreans aged 25 to 29 have continued to decline for 9 consecutive quarters. But what's striking is a steep decline we've seen this year. In 2023, the number dropped by 31,000, and last year it dipped slightly by just 5,000. But this year, employment fell by 98,000.
Wow.
That's the largest quarterly drop in 13 years, bringing the total number of employed in this age group to just 242,000. It's a worrying sign that the job market for young adults is growing colder by the day, with many struggling to find even entry-level positions. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, because that figure, that's less than a quarter of a million people that are being on the job market right now.
That's right.
And this age group is supposed to be the most active, most vibrant people. Tanya, what are the stats saying about the trend? Is there a gap between the experienced workers and inexperienced, and is the gap sort of widening? Is it growing?
Yeah, sure. So there is a stark gap between the experienced workers and inexperienced workers. So according to recent statistics released by the Bank of Korea, as you can see here on the screen, the job market has become significantly more difficult for inexperienced workers. So a survey of regular employment rates for experienced and inexperienced workers over the past decade showed that while the rate for workers with experience remained relatively stable, the rate for workers without experience dropped sharply, falling to about half the employment probability of their experienced counterparts.
And I think I really want to investigate the reasons behind it, because it seems like more and more companies are actually turning away from hiring new graduates altogether. So what could actually be driving companies from having this reluctance to hire very vibrant and young people who could add a new energy to the company?
That's a very good question. Well, one key reason is that amid global economic uncertainty and a sluggish domestic market, many companies here are increasingly favoring candidates who can deliver immediate results, who can have some tangible results. In fact, a recent survey found that the proportion of firms prioritizing job-related experience rose sharply from 58% in 2023 to 75% in 2024. It's a practical choice, saving both time and money for the training costs. And it's quite understandable from the company's perspective, but for candidates, for the young adults, especially first-time job seekers, it puts them at a clear disadvantage. After all, no one starts their career with experience already in hand. So, in short, experience is no longer preferred. It's expected. You need experience to get experience.
I love that line, because I think all of us can agree when we started our career, we didn't have experience. We needed that first step to come to where we are. So that first step of experience is always important to channel you from inexperienced to experience, right?
Indeed.
What about you, Sang? What's happening in South Korea at the moment?
Yeah, so this general unemployment is becoming more pronounced as major Korean corporations are phasing out open recruitment for new graduates. So in the past, companies would hire entry-level employees through open recruitment, train them and retain them as lifelong workers. However, as society has changed, with frequent job changes becoming the norm and the concept of a lifelong job getting weak, companies are increasingly unwilling to invest the time and energy to train inexperienced workers.
And you mentioned some of the Korean companies and the policies that they're changing, but this actually doesn't seem to be a uniquely Korean problem. Is it a global trend? Is it a global phenomenon?
It is indeed a global phenomenon right now. We are seeing similar patterns emerge beyond Korea. In the US, many companies are also showing reluctance to hire Gen Z workers. A recent report found that 1 in 7 companies has no plans to hire recent graduates at all. And what's more, 6 out of 10 hiring managers said they have already let Gen Z employees go. And some cite, then why? Some cite performance issues, while others mention the attitude clashes, generational clashes. And in a world that demands experience, Gen Z, this generation, is being asked to prove themselves before they have even some experience, before going into a company.
That's very interesting. So they sort of have to earn the ticket before
ironic.
they even get the ticket.
That's
so to
ironic
speak.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously, if there's an attitude problem, I do think you have to take certain responsibility for it. But Sang-yeop, I think there's a certain underlying perception about Gen Z that is sort of happening in the hiring scene.
Well, actually, it's not underlying, but many employers are now coming up
More
to
overt about it,
coming up to say that the Gen Zs are indeed causing problems within the office. So the reasons they cited for their negative views on Gen Z were that they are not proactive in their work, lack the ability to handle tasks independently, and fall short in terms of professional expertise. And despite all these criticisms from their seniors, Gen Zs called for improvements in their payment and welfare and believe the companies are not treating them properly as a professional. So as you can see here, there's a mismatch of understanding between employers and the new employees, which is causing another issue.
And this doesn't just pertain to Gen Z employees. I think rights and responsibility always have to go together. And it's a tricky balance when there's a mismatch between the two. Now, to gain a more global perspective on this topic, we have invited a professional who is actually at the center of hiring, and she will share her insight with us. Join us after the break.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Today we're joined by Gloria Cho, a recruiting manager living in Seoul. Hello, Gloria.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
And we're so excited to talk to you. Now, has there been a noticeable drop in entry-level recruitment because we're talking about the hiring freeze? And how are things currently unfolding for young job seekers at the moment?
Yes, indeed, there has. There's been a discernible trend indicating a reduction in entry-level recruitment in recent years. It's become increasingly apparent that young job seekers are navigating a more challenging environment compared to previous years. We've seen hesitancy among companies to invest in the same volume of entry-level hires, influenced by a confluence of factors. This environment has intensified competition for available positions, often requiring young graduates to navigate a demanding landscape where prior internship experience and advanced qualifications are frequently emphasized. This often translates into a frustrating job search where young job seekers may no longer or may face longer periods of unemployment or underemployment and also be required to complete multiple internships or other prospects to acquire more achievements to stand out because there's so much competition. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. Then that's the catch-22. Then what's the main reason behind the drop in the recruitment of young people?
So as always, obviously previously mentioned, there are a lot of different factors involved in it, but the primary drivers behind this trend stem from the economic uncertainties that have been happening globally, that prompt a more cautious approach to workforce expansion, particularly for roles requiring initial training. As young job seekers, they need education, they need training when they first enter the job force, and companies aren't able to cater to all those needs because they need immediate results. There's also a strong emphasis on productivity. So therefore, companies need to prioritize experienced candidates who can contribute more rapidly. And furthermore, the undeniable impact of technological advancements and automation is actually reshaping the job market these days. A lot of companies, a lot of CEOs are more for automation and AI platforms that can do potentially the job that entry level job seekers would be doing in the jobs. So they would prefer using those platforms and or outsourcing as opposed to hiring in-house employees. And on another note, some employers also perceive Gen Z as a little harder to motivate. And this is not only just because of their personality or character, but Gen Z has placed a higher value on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as work-life balance and flexibility, which is a little different from baby boomers and millennials previously. And so there is that generation gap that needs to be worked on, I guess, in order to kind of come to an agreement in the workplace expectations and values.
So there are mixed reasons of why the new graduates are having difficult time to find new jobs. So what kinds of measures or support systems could assist in increasing or providing more opportunities for entry-level hiring?
To address the situation and foster great opportunities for entry-level hiring, there can be multiple different approaches. First off, governmental incentives, such as targeted tax benefits or initial wage support for companies hiring recent graduates, could provide a tangible encouragement. Simultaneously, bolstering the quality and accessibility of structured internship and apprenticeship programs is crucial for equipping the young job seekers to have practical skills and facilitate the transition into the workforce. Also, enhance collaboration between academic institutions and industry would also help, as the curriculum in the institutions can be relevant and provide practical exposure, which would be valuable in the workplace. And then moreover, offering specific support and resources to even small and medium-sized companies and enterprises would also help to enable them to onboard and develop entry-level talent and unlock significant opportunities.
Thank you so much, Gloria. I hope our conversation today opens a lot of more opportunities, or at least, places for conversations to happen to actually thaw the hiring freeze. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're always open to hearing from our viewers as well. So we posted a question on our Arirang YouTube channel, and we said, why do you think more companies are choosing experienced workers over fresh hires? And here are some of their selected responses. Now, Dark Sky Madian said, companies choose more experienced workers as they have a lower risk factor. Daniel Gun Kim said, security and comfort. Security because they can be assured the worker would be someone they can rely on and who has been on the job. Comfort because they will usually know what to do and have, quote, work sense, so you won't be need to babysit them. Chocolate Pudding 093 said, I guess it's because experienced workers need less training and can work more independently. But if companies only want experienced people, where are new hires supposed to get that experience in the first place? I think that is a great question. Thank you to all of you for sharing your thoughts. Now let's move the topic to a more broader consequences and perspective. Now, as opportunities start to dwindle, I think there would definitely be some socio-economic consequences that could be happening. So Xion, let's start with you. What are some of the consequences that we're seeing right now and we can expect to see in the future if this hiring freeze were to continue?
Well, one growing concern is the rising number of young people who are no longer even trying to find work. They're not jumping into the job market. These are recent graduates who, after facing repeated rejection, gradually withdraw from the job market altogether. They know what's happening. They become part of a high-risk group who are known as young adults who have never held a job. And the longer they remain outside the workforce, the harder it becomes to return to the workplaces. This mass dropout isn't just a matter of employment. It threatens long-term economic growth and could lead to deeper structural issues in society. And before we go, I think I have to mention this. We have seen a similar trend pattern in Japan, maybe 2 to 3 decades ago.
Right.
Many young people in Japan, they relied on part-time works like in convenience stores, and they expressed satisfaction with this lifestyle. And the increase, they are known as freeters, opt for part-time employment and needs not in education, employment or training. And these people in Japan underscores the need for lasting job opportunities and youth support. And there are many concerns. There are concerns that the same pattern is emerging here in Korea as well.
I think you brought a great example because it's always good to refer to history to see how the global phenomenon or trend could continue. And if you have a personal satisfaction in that job lifestyle, that's great. But I think some people do want that job, but are just not given the opportunity to pursue it even when they want to. Yeah. Sang-yeon, what about you? What are some of the possible consequences that we can expect?
Yeah, so this overall unemployment issues among the people in their 20s could negatively impact their lifetime earnings as well. So as companies increasingly prefer hiring experienced workers, the total employment period over a person's lifetime is reduced by about 2 years. And this reduction could translate into an estimated 13% decrease in overall lifetime income as well.
And finally, opening up for discussion, we'll do a very quick, brief ending. What are some of the possible ways to support and thaw the frozen market, do you think?
Well, most of the current companies, they're doing good, and they support lots of programs. But, I think the young people, they don't need another program, another system. They are already highly educated. What they need is not another program, but real structural change in how entry-level hiring works. One approach could be investing in small but high potential companies for them so they can actually, create and sustain new jobs. So ensuring that the next generation isn't just surviving, but truly thriving in the workforce. I think that's the key answer for this.
Surviving, thriving.
That's right.
Yeah, what about you, Sang-yeon?
So just like Gloria mentioned in the interview, I think we can provide a apprenticeship or internship programs to the new graduates who can adapt themselves well to the roles and responsibilities required from the companies. That way we'll be able to lessen the gap that the companies and the school curriculum are facing at the moment. And also we can maybe think outside the box here. We don't really need to hire new employees. Maybe those new employees could hire themselves. So government can also provide incentives and support for the MZers to open a new business or to find their profession in such as creators, developers, or freelancers like me.
Exactly. And as you heard from today's conversation, there's definitely no quick fix, but I hope conversations like this actually opens doors for more opportunities. And that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And NewsGen will be back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks today to Kwon Ju-yeon.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. And Im Sang-yeon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And to all our viewers, thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow. We are
News Generation.